Good evening, good morrow, and good morning, everyone. My name is Mikael Moonstrung, and we are back on my favorite series to interview a master. And today, we have a treasure unlike any. We have a treasure that stands amidst many sacred treasures within not only our fraternity, but within the values that we hold close and that matter. Welcome to the show, Somotit V, or more importantly, Silent Brother. He who is taught on TikTok and given the Masonic education in one of the most symbolic ways, and inevitably has made a huge impact and is known very well by our brethren and the mass waves of media. Welcome, brother. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, brother. Thank you. Been waiting for this moment.
You know, you inherently, when I first found you on TikTok, you had such a captivating style that inevitably, we talked a bit earlier. I was like, has he really not said anything? Because you were an anomaly. You stood out, and the more we got to kind of have a bit of rapport and kind of go back and forth commenting and engaging on each other's content, and in space there was just like I couldn't get you out of my head, especially even in spaces where, like, whatever the algorithm god or digital space may be, your posts regularly found their way into my FYP, into my following page, and I wanted to know more. So again, thank you for coming on. I've got some good questions for you, at least questions I hope that will help us understand and learn a bit more about you as a Mason, as a master, but as well as a brother and as an individual.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm honored to be here, brother.
Thank you. So take us in. So let's start with your Masonic career. What lodge are you a part of?
I'm from Prospect Lodge, number 121, Most Worshipful Prince or Grand Lodge of Virginia.
Wonderful.
And currently, right now, I'm the senior deacon. This office I'm currently holding right now.
Okay, so we have a chair. We have a chair holder with us. Wonderful. So you are proficient. You are currently taking the line within Blue Lodge. What motivated you to take that degree, or not take that degree, but to follow into the line of progression?
Well, to be honest, I was asked to be the junior warden of my lodge, but through studies, I found out that you will learn so much in the senior deacon seat rather than the junior warden seat, even though my progression will be faster.
Well, I definitely know when we're talking about speed versus quality versus quantity, it's about where do you feel you not belong, but can benefit the most.
Yes. So that's the reason I told my worshipful master, I was like, I'll take the senior deacon seat and you can give the seat to my cable toe.
Well said. So what induced you to become a Freemason?
I'll tell you the very first time the light was shown to me when I was 12 years old. Because my uncle, which is the worshipful master of my lodge right now, we lived together as a kid. So the light was always on the back of his car. And I'm like, what is that? But, as in a lot of Masons, even though they're related to you, they will not tell you anything at all, especially the old school ones.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, they're like, no, that ain't how we do it. Like you have to make that. It's very, they're hush. A lot of times we've even seen generational loss from, like, what I would say, like what I look at as like grandfathers to their sons, because they didn't talk a lot about it. There was like a shh kind of a thing.
Yes. So I was 12, and from that moment, I knew that it was my dream to become a Master Mason. But it took me 20 years. Yes, 20 years to finally develop myself as a person spiritually, mentally and physically. I wanted to create myself and be worthy of that opportunity. So it took me 20 years to prepare myself for that moment when we was raised.
That's incredible. When you talk about, especially in our analogy, we know that the idea of being patient and works over time, oftentimes, I'll be honest, in today's generation, it's lost a lot because of how quickly we move in instant gratification and satisfaction. What, when you look about how you were preparing yourself, how exactly do you visualize or do you interpret that you needed to prepare yourself before you joined the fraternity?
Because being in any type of organization, you got to be willing to put a lot of time in.
Mm-hmm.
And you, when you're a part of an organization, you're not just moving by yourself. You feel me? You representing a lot of people
Yeah.
around the world. You're representing every Mason with each and every action that you make, especially in public.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, we were all growing up. We were all misfits. I was, you know,
The
a
best
little,
of us were.
a little rebellious. So I need to get that out my way, get all that away. And I've experienced a lot of things in my life, and just knowing that it was time for me to achieve the dream that resonated with me when I was young. It's like dreams never leave. You know
No,
what I'm
they
saying?
don't. Yeah,
You hype.
absolutely. What is your dream for the fraternity? So I see the dream that brought you here, that called you here, that you've been able to exemplify and to live yourself. What is the dream that you have for the fraternity now that you're a part of it?
Um, the reason why let's I'm gonna say that the reason why we chose Freemasonry is because it's a bigger platform for us to really do what we need to do to help the community. Because before Freemasonry, like me and a few of my friends would buy pizza boxes, and go to the woods where homeless people live and just give out pizzas. And to me, I was like, man, we got to do bigger. So
So charity is
me
a
have,
huge part of it for you.
huh?
So charity is a
What
huge
happened?
part of it for you, having started
Definitely,
in that even before.
definitely. Charity that's a reason. One of the reasons, biggest reasons, I've joined Freemasonry, because I see my uncle. He goes to homeless shelter, always cooking for them and just giving out like holidays. So
I love that. So because that's an aspect with masonry that a lot of people they talk about, especially and with other brother, the aspect of community and the aspect of giving back, being able to not just study some foreign spiritual or symbolic idea, but to actually do something which represents benefit to those who are distressed, to those who need help. Because inevitably
yeah.
you can be so heavenly minded, you're no earthly good.
So charity, like, is a teaching. Like charity, when you pass away, your charitable work will live on forever.
Mm-hmm. When you look at your lodge in general and the charity that has been extended to you there, and then likewise that you have taken into yourself to carry outward, what has motivated you through the darkness that life brings? We all know the storm clouds that roll in. How have you either used the fraternity or you specifically encountered and survived, dwelled well through those dark points?
Mm. Like you talking about like in dark moments in life, how do I manage to
Mm-hmm.
survive?
Yeah. So what are the things that you use? We tools are very powerful, especially within our craft, but in life, to achieve success,
Oh,
innovation. What do you use by which to
okay.
do that?
Before joining the fraternity, I've always loved spirituality. I've been I've been practicing meditation for over 10 years now. And I meditate every night before going to sleep. And people might think it's weird, but there's a ritual that I've learned to spin to the left 33 times.
Interesting. Okay.
And it really is going to rearrange your DNA, like particles in your body. So I do that. I meditate. I do spinning. I work out, and basically like just spiritual practices that brings me to light is my own individual spiritual practices.
Do you ever find that those spiritual practices evolve and change in ways that you weren't expecting them to?
No, definitely, especially meditation. Meditation played a huge part in my life.
Now, hey, meditation can be a trip, especially when you consider some of the aspects of the mind, and how it works and the things that move it and motivate it. What is the most transformative meditative experience you've had, the contemplative moment?
Oh, like experience while meditating.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot, but what stuck with me the most was during my deep meditation. You see colors.
Mm-hmm.
Start see colors, colorful stuff, and rarely you'll see figures.
Yeah.
Most of the time, when you in a deep meditative state, it's just colors, just basically entertaining your mind.
Yeah. Yeah. The screensaver of it all.
That's perfect. Yeah. So at one time, deep meditative state, a figure, an old man, popped out in my face while meditating in a golden robe with long white beard, and he just had a golden aura around him. Saw him for like 3 seconds and then popped out, just gone.
What did that do? Who do you feel like that was? Because that's definitely full of a lot of very evocative symbology, from the gold to the age to who was that to you?
One of my friends, he's into spiritual practice as well, and then we researched it, and we actually found people, spiritual entities that wear robes. It in various colors like green, gold, white, and I think black, what we research. And then when they pop in your dreams or any type of meditative state, it means something.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I got from that is that there was a huge calling for me that needed to be achieved.
When did that happen in comparison to your life in general? Like, did this happen when you were younger? Was it after you joined the fraternity, before?
But this is before, way before.
Oh, wow.
Because I got raised in August 1st, 2020.
Oh, fair enough. But your
So,
time with the fraternity also started much earlier than that.
huh?
But your time with the fraternity started earlier than that in regards to your experience with your uncle, having
Yes.
that, so fair enough. Oftentimes the people will, I've run into brothers before who will take the age of a Mason as written on their apron or inscribed on an archive, and use that as an example to say they are uneducated or unaware or not to such a space, especially on TikTok, which is weird. A lot of people there who carry a lot of generational weight with them.
Yeah.
And so
How about you? When were you raised?
So I was raised in September of 2019. So just a bit before you. It was we went through, it was July, August, and September were when I took a degree each month, and in each space. I'll admit it was a faster on the degree path, but it was very, like, I'll work my ass off for it. I made sure, we had the worshipful master down in my lodge, and we stepped through each one of our proficiencies before I took the next degree. But it was quick. I went through it fast. And in that, there were a lot of aspects of the fraternity that I didn't really understand in regards to some of the systems that exist, that it must exist for it to exist. That oftentimes, being youthful, being very much an entered apprentice in life, I'm unaware of, or not was unaware of. I'm just, you get very excited, and sometimes you forget order and how it is maintained.
That's right. All that knowledge will get you excited.
It does, especially when you start. So okay, so that's a good one, because when you started, you had a lot of experience, spiritual experience, both self-discovery and meditative experience, all before the fraternity. How did
Yes,
those things impact you once you went into it, once you crossed that door?
that's a great question because during my the first degree ritual,
Mm-hmm.
right? The very first thing it's like this is the time when they let you in, right? So during that time, it felt so much like a physical psychedelic trip for me. It was like, whoa, because I've experienced some stuff.
Yeah,
And for me to compare this, it's like, oh my God, there's like a physical psychedelic trip that I've just experienced.
it's a thing. It's a thing. Like I get 100% what you were. I'm a active practicing pagan ritualist, high magic ceremonialist. Like if there's an aspect of higher thought or extended practical application of understanding the morality and the world and the physics and science of it all, how it sticks together and how can I pull it apart, I'm into it. I'm about it. And I went through those
Yes.
degrees and I was like, this felt ancestral. This felt like straight, I mean, straight cult level magic. And I ain't putting shit into anybody's mouth to, say that this is what it is. It is not. This was my experience. As everything we discuss is, we do not reflect the values of any Grand Lodge. This is a fraternal chat, a fraternal
Yes. Yep.
conversation.
Yep.
But it moved me. Tell you what, I can tell you something about my first degree. I can tell you something about my second degree. As much attention as I can remember. My third, I have no fucking idea what happened. It was such a shift. It was such a psychological movement with that. Sorry, I went on.
Right.
I gotta shut up.
Like I love what you when you said ancestral. Like
Yeah.
what you're experiencing is something is is so old, right? And just the power that it has because it's been here for so long and still ongoing. It's kind of like an energy.
So it's funny. I have literal goosebumps. I'm just gonna hold them up. I know the camera can't see them, but actual goosebumps as we talk about this, because yeah, and just imagine, right? 17. Oh, I don't remember when George Washington took his degrees. I could Google it. I could find that out. When he took those degrees, inevitably he had a perception, and this is one of those things that I get obsessed about, which is like the ancient origins of the fraternity. Where do you think the fraternity comes from in its speculative, most ancient origins? Not necessarily when we look at like the current versions, but what do you think is the inspiration to the fraternity as we understand it today?
Well, we've been taught that it came from the medieval stonemasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty sure like everything that humans have ever done, we're just repeating it. You
Well
know what I'm
stated.
saying?
Yeah.
Everything. Like we think that our knowledge, like you get spark of knowledge. You'd be like, oh my God, this is new. No, that's been going on in ancient times.
Right. Right.
Like spirituality, right? Like people on TikTok, they think that, oh my God, oh, I'm woke. Like I'm doing something different. No, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
You're catching up.
And you're just supposed to be doing what you're supposed to do. This is not something to brag about. But that's what our generation is doing.
So how do you think we, on a level, and I'm gonna use the word, I'm not gonna say fight, but how do you think we either better understand, educate, or make progress away from that place and we get towards the like that acknowledge, because inevitably, like I'll use you as a good example. You're incredibly humble in your approach
Huh?
and your words. I said to use you as an example, you are incredibly humble, right?
Thank
The way that you present yourself, the way that you carry yourself, you carry the aspects of the fraternity, those things which unify all of us together on an international, on a global level. You present those, not the things that people attach to, not the cultish space, because I can use other educators, other Freemasons on TikTok, where they place emphasis on their content, on their education, on that space has to do with involvement in conspiracies, involvement in things which are inherently very far away from what is the core of the fraternity. You exemplify how you carry what I say are the lights. You carry the shining emblems of it with you. But we're dealing with a generation in a space now where it's it's different. That isn't inherently how things are starting to carry. Like you say, it's about what can you show, what can you record, what can you what can you post.
That's what it is now. There's no like before I post anything, any video, I watch it a few times. And if I don't feel anything, if I don't make connection with that video I'm posting, I'm not gonna post it. Sometimes I delete posts because I watch it again and I'm like, nah, this I don't feel it. I'll delete this, a waste of time. So, and to me, when I'm all about energy, right?
Yeah.
And every time we do something, it's a transfer. Like right now, both two of us are transferring each other's energies.
Absolutely.
We're feeding each other right now. So when you want to feed people, you want to feed them positive stuff. You don't want to feed anybody, even your pets, any negative feelings. So, and naturally, as humans, we are loving creatures.
Yeah.
Like we are meant to love. Our
It's
body,
definitely in our capacity when you look at what we do and how we feel things like on that first.
like we're humans are supposed like. Did you know that when humans lie, our muscles get weakened?
I've heard that very much the same thing. Like when you frown, like I say, smiling like adds years to your life or does something like that. But you frown, if you're using less muscles, you're not engaging. So I can vibe that.
There's actually a book that I've read. It's called The Emotional Code. It's a healing process by this doctor. I forgot his name, but he actually performed muscle tester to his patients where you put your arm out, right? You put your arm out when you're patient. Put your arm out. He'll put his two fingers above your wrist while your arm is out. And what he'll do is he'll ask you a few questions like, what's your name? Right? When you say, my name is Louie, arms get stronger, right? It don't go down. But when you say a different name, it just goes down as he pushes it. So what he does is he performs this type of test first, muscle test. And that's how I figured out that every time humans lie, we just get weakened. So if you're a person that lies all the time, guess what you're doing to your body?
So how do you, with that inevitable weakening, which comes when we're lying, what happens when we're unconsciously lying, and how can we acknowledge maybe some of the little lies we've either heard about ourselves or we've been telling ourselves that we can start correcting?
Well, your subconscious mind knows everything before it even happens.
Well said. Well said.
So your conscious mind only knows what you want it to know, but your subconscious mind already know even before it happens. Like my subconscious mind already know what you're about to say, and vice versa. We're just not aware of that.
So how do we start that conversation? Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I interrupted you. So how do we do that when it comes to how do we figure out, how do we start that direction of the conscious mind? The unconscious understands all, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm an idiot. I oftentimes choose to believe things that I shouldn't, or to focus on things that don't help me or they don't benefit me. But I don't always realize that until it's too late. What could I do to focus or to help see those things or to check those things? Check my angle, so to speak.
Always check your angles, right?
That's absolutely right.
What are right angles?
I love it.
Well, so how do you know? Because like before I answer, I just want to, make it like answer it in my head real quick and how I'm gonna approach it.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. So how do you stop your conscious mind from doing something? Right? Is that
so how do I stop my conscious mind from doing something that is inherently bad for me, but that I have yet to consciously realize? Our unconscious mind understands all, but oftentimes our unconscious or our conscious mind assumes control. It takes vestitude in its actions to say that we're going to do this because I want it. Because
that's just a learning process. You got to make mistakes, so that's That's just being a human being. That's natural, you know. Your
Mm-hmm.
your conscious mind is always gonna. I do it. We all do it. So, but when you catch on to it, that's when it becomes, why you keep doing it. You caught on to it.
How do you catch on to it? What's the first sign I could see to see that? Oh, okay, maybe I should pay attention to that.
Pay attention to how you feel after that.
Okay.
You know, like if you feel good afterwards, because if you're really tuned in,
Mm-hmm.
if you're really tuned in with what's inside of you, you feel every single emotions. You know.
That's factual. I'll admit, like I've definitely I've experienced shit inside that I would have never expected to on the outside. Starting here consciously, delving into the unconscious, I wouldn't have expected to find that.
Right.
What, Brother Louie, is the most unexpected thing you found within yourself, within when you joined the fraternity, and then likewise that I would say before and after?
That whatever you put your mind to and your heart, you can achieve anything. You can achieve anything whatever you want. Anything is possible on this planet. So me being a Freemason, that's just like, whoa, bro. Like a lot of people don't understand how important and how privileged we are as Masons.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people take that for granted. Some brothers don't even go to meetings as soon as they get the light.
That's true. Yeah, so that's a big one. I'll be honest. We came at one point in time, our country and our world was supported by the lights that those Freemasons carried. Even when you talk about revolutions, when you talk about those individuals who have advocated for positive change, who have looked to, to be the torchbearer, to be the torch wielder, to carry that high moral philosophy forward in all aspects. At one point in time, it was fervent, it was prevalent, it was everywhere. We walked together arm in arm down the streets in mass, but we don't see that nowadays, and I don't think you would see that. What can we do to get back to that, or not? And it's not when I say get back to it, but what do you think has changed from then to now?
Distractions, that's what changed. Like I've been talking to a lot of past masters, and there was like, man, the reason why everybody going to the lodge because that's the only thing there was to do. Back then there were no TVs, there were no clubs or whatever. I mean, there was, but like way back,
Yeah.
I'm talking about like when there were no televisions and going to the lodge is kind of like
it
the
is
only
a social
thing.
club. There is 100% of fraternal communion and gathering, which is inevitably our whole story. We started out in bars, like, hey, look, let me show you how to draw this angle straight. Okay.
Drinker, it was a social.
Yeah.
Go to the lodge every Friday than anywhere else, honestly. I get away from your work, your spouse, if you have children. It's a nice getaway from everything else. Especially when you're open.
Yeah.
Especially when you're opening.
Oh, I struggled. You joined right at the heart of COVID, or right at the peak of it, 2020, end of 2020.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it took me a year and some change to get raised because of pandemic.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
you can talk about dark days when this virus came, and inherently, especially with the generation it targeted, there was a lot of worry.
yes.
There was a lot of concern for that space. Well, how was your lodge rebounded, or likewise, do you feel like you've rebounded at all? How have you specifically tackled the cultural changes that COVID and this virus have brought to us, and likewise with us within the fraternity?
Oh yeah, we always because basically whatever Prince or Grand Lodge tells us to do, we have to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's not up to your lodge. Let's say your subordinate lodge wants to open, and the whole Grand Lodge, the whole jurisdiction says no, so you can't. It's basically like And then when they said we can open, so our lodge on its own took a lot of precautions on before you come in. We take your temperatures. You got mask on, and in the lodge, if you have people, we're like separate anyways, you know.
Yeah.
So and you got gloves, so
Well, you know what? And I'll be honest, you know, the Prince Hall Masons and every Prince Hall Mason I have ever met, this is a huge pride, represents, I believe, the fraternity far better than the average Mason, Freemason of State, Grand Lodge of State officer individual that I've met. And I don't mean like Grand Lodge officers, but I just mean that, like, from the gloves to the apparel to the high regard for process procedure to benefit, right? To benefit, not to detriment, not to crazy ritualistic adherence. Like, I'm from Rome, Missouri. My home lodge, this is not, I'm not going to say that this is necessarily a place where you would have expected to find masks, but I think the closest you would have probably seen on a precautionary level would have been like a bottle of Germex by the door. Like, it's a very different space. And you know, to look at how you guys took that kind of dedication, that diligence to stay with it, to continue to move, continue to keep that lodge functioning flow. So what Grand Lodge edict, what did it call you to do in most places? How long did you go dark, if you did?
we went dark for the whole year. Like all 2020 was we was in the dark.
Wow. So did you come out at all, or was it, how did you get your degree?
We come out before election day. Before St. John's Day. We opened a month before that because we had to have officers installed in the lodge.
Yeah, get all the fun stuff done.
So you know the Masonic schedule. So we opened for that, and then realized that as long as we take precautions, we can do our business.
I think that I like that was the approach. You know, it's not stop work, it's figure out how to work under this condition, how to work with this involvement. There's a lot of times, especially our generation, we just stop.
You did?
And that looks a little hard. You know, like the road went up. Oh, I can't see what went around the corner. I think I'm gonna stay right here.
And plus, is a lot of brothers are asking, like, we're not even going to the lodge, and we guys still pay dues.
Yeah.
That was just
no, it's a thing. It's like, well, shit. I mean, like, I paid for that glove house, but I'm still here. I love going to lodge. It is one of the most.
Me too, bro.
It's
like, to me, it's so special.
It is.
Like, I feel like we have that same feeling going to the lodge. Like, I can feel it.
I get it. It's undescribable. Oftentimes, like, my wife, we had a conversation, like, well, what do you guys like actually do? And I'm like, business. It's oftentimes, it's not even that, like, there's nothing. I mean, if you turned on CBS, you'd see more engagement, more movement than what. But there is some aspect to when I come back from lodge, she'll describe it, or and I know how I feel. I feel good.
Me too.
Like I needed that. I don't know why I needed that, but I needed that.
Yes. That's why, the charge always say, we got to go to the outer world now.
But yeah, yes. God, see, that's when it comes to Blue Lodge. So now, are you part of any of the appendant bodies?
No, sir. I've been asked if, like the Shriners and stuff like that, but like I told you about my office and the reason why I didn't go up to the junior warden instead, the senior deacon office, because I feel like if I want to really learn things in Freemasonry, because it's a whole lifelong journey.
Yeah.
Freemasonry is not just you did it. No, it's not. It becomes part of. It becomes a part of who you are.
It's a way of life. I mean.
Yes. And let's say, why would I go to another house if I haven't even cleaned mine yet?
Well said. I like that a lot. I like that a lot.
And after I'm done cleaning my house, branch out, because Freemasonry ain't going nowhere.
No, I definitely. So let's talk about that. Where do you think Freemasonry is going to look like? What do you think it's going to look like in 10 years?
Oh, it's gonna look, to me, if we brothers like us on TikTok, we are the different breed of Freemasons.
Yeah, we are.
Like, we're very different, bro. Like, our approach in Freemasonry is so like
It's radical.
yes, it is. Like, if I'm a non-Mason and I see us, I'm like, bro, I want to join. I want to see what it feels like.
I want to see what that's like. Shit, what drug they on? Why ain't they sharing?
Yes.
I mean, their hands are out. They said I could have some, mama. Like, what you mean?
But I'm gonna ask you a question, right?
Yeah.
Before you was a Mason, right? Before your eyes were peeled.
Mm-hmm.
When you meet a Master Mason before, did you have a different type of like feeling towards them? Like, to me, like, I'm gonna look at them like, oh my God, he knows a lot of secrets in my head while talking to them.
Yeah, no, 100%. In fact, like the first Master Mason I ever met, I was 16 at an airport on my way back from my job, dealing with massive amounts of like depression and anxiety because my daughter had just been born. I was away from home. I didn't know how I was going to build a life. Just a bunch of like big life shit. And the first Mason I met who in general was just this Midwest dude from Oklahoma. His name was Tommy Jones. And he had his ring on, and he pulled up with his suitcase, and every aspect of him gave off an air of not only confidence. He looked like a master. He felt like a master. I heard somebody use it on TikTok before a little respite, and it was called he called it the Nephilim effect. And effectively, it's just a terminology to describe. There are those people whose presence enters the room before them.
Uh-huh.
And this individual, he embodied that. His presence was like palpable. He may as well have had his arm around me because of just the way he wasn't even talking to me. He was talking to somebody else on the phone. And so like I had this, like, when I saw the ring, I thought I was looking at like what in my head at the time of like an Aleister Crowley level person, like a high spirit. I'm like, this guy's no, like, can I even approach him? Can I even like, can I just touch his robe? Like, I understand. I mean, in certain places, like I don't know where that veneration came. I mean, definitely a little bit of like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and National Treasure-esque like influences that kind of drove that part of me, but it was validated. It was validated. Yeah. Like,
right. So we call it a Masonic aura.
Yeah. So say that again. You said that was, you call that Masonic what?
We call that a Masonic aura.
A Masonic aura. Yeah. I like
you have that Masonic aura.
I like that. A Masonic aura. Where do I buy that?
Huh? Oh, Amazon.
Affiliate links down below. Oh shit.
So okay. When you become a man, when you got raised, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you look at the world a little different?
I did. And I think there were two parts of it. It became very humbling. But it started out on a level not almost like separatist. Like when I became a Master Mason, I suddenly felt like I had to fix something, or that I was a part of a great and grand task that others were not. Like the first thing I did was I separated myself because I had to go through a veil. I had to walk through this door, this point of darkness to get here. So I recognized that other people also had to do that there were those who were in darkness and that there were those who were in light. And so the first thing that I did when I started as a Master Mason was I kind of took on I wouldn't say an elitist. I'm an elitist by nature because of my time in spellcraft in general, the narcissism and egoism, which runs through my head like veins. I have a tendency to think very high of myself.
You have to.
The fraternity, it put me on the level. It took parts of myself that, to be honest, were just too damn high. They were too, they were too extraneous because they were not bound within a building of equal proportion, a just and right room. And when I was able to put myself into that space, and not put myself, be brought by a friend there and to trust it. I would say like the best aspects of me started to be highlighted because I had a system of support that told me that you should really, you need to look at this. Not this is what you do. This is just, what do you think? When you look at this, what do you see? When you see this building, this edifice, which stands and has stood and will stand, how do you think it did that? And the questions I had to that were very, they were very self-reflective. What about you? That's a good ass question. I like that question. I should come out of my, what about you?
Yes, because I was the same as you, just like you said. Like when you got race, you kind of like, all right, let me go check my ego now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay, where am I ego now? Because you're on a grand scale.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of people don't understand, like Freemasonry is the biggest and the oldest fraternity in the world. And for you to be able to be a part of that, you can't take it lightly.
No.
You can't. Like, oh my God, I was duly and well qualified.
There is a difference to understand that there's a difference, and there's a reason you're given that to understand that you're worthy and well qualified, brother, versus your brethren. There's a reason you're given these descriptions.
You're like worthy and well qualified, and for you to like, oh my God, I had people really wanted me to be a part of it. Mm-hmm. And that's really something special to me, like having somebody holding you throughout your whole journey as an entered apprentice. Mm-hmm. And the dedication that they are willing to put just you their whole time. Like these brothers have jobs, wives, and for them to come to the meeting, study with you, and perform this amazing task just for you.
Yeah.
After that, you got to check your ego.
You got to kneel, motherfucker. You do.
You got to kneel.
You do. You get your knee pads. You get ready.
That's why they kneel.
Like.
That's why they kneel you first, because you got to check that ego, boy.
Let's check this. Like, and it's so, and I think you really can, you hit something. It's funny. Every one of these conversations, I fucking love. Again, the goosebumps are back, where the biblical goose flesh is present. And the one that always affirms for me the level of what I call holy communion that we're able to engage with here, this energetic exchange that this conversation brings about. But you keyed into something when I think about what is an emanating power in the fraternity, especially for men, and I say young men who are growing and developing. I didn't always have a great relationship with my dad. My parents split when I was 5, and it put a lot of, I didn't, basically I had daddy issues. Surprise, surprise. And when it came to the fraternity, so many aspects of what were varying aspects of like suppressed masculinity, when it came to the education and the fellowship that I was able to get from these men who, on a level, and be honest, they felt a lot like my dad. They were seniors in life. They knew, they had their shit together, but they treated me like family, and they brought me in, and they wanted me to succeed, and they called me, I love, my worshipful master, he may have some weird ideologies at times and have some things, but when I started, his name is Ralph Warren. This man, he showed up on my property out random, and I lived out in the middle of like lost country Missouri in a tiny house. He would pull up and sit out, and we'd smoke a cigarette, and we would work on my proficiencies. Like he put in such diligence and such engagement and such time out of his day to come to work with me, to care about me, and I've experienced that everywhere I have gone within the fraternity, and holy hell, it is some of the most therapeutic and cathartic things when I look at the traumatized child within me that, like, where did dad go? Why did I not go through these rites of passage? I'm always looking for that, like, attaboy. And I tell you what, I get that attaboy in the fraternity. When I put my effort into it, when I go into that, they're there for me. And so you talked about that drive, that call that comes from the inside of the fraternity, where they want you to be there. when you've presented yourself and you say that this is, they support you, and what that does for you, it's so healing.
Like, you was asked, where were you first prepared to become a Mason? And when you feel that from them, you're like, oh, this is a real thing. Like, because they make you feel that. Like, it's supposed to be coming from your, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, it's not. So many people think it's this superficial thing. It's like, if you guys get radical, you get people who are like absolutely head over heels in love with something, right? You probably really like ice cream. I really like ice cream. Like, we all get what it's like to love something. Okay, Freemasonry, just take the thing you like the most, right? And we're gonna separate God. We're gonna put this grand, untangible thing up there. But like, just think about physical world God. That's Freemasonry. Like, the way you think about it, the way you feel it, the way you move in it. For me, it moves into that, like, it gets in my goddamn veins. I'm an addict at times. Like, we just went dark. We were dark for 3 months. I wrote like 5 letters to my lodge. I wrote educations. I came up with a Masonic debate thing, like all of these things to just feel connected to this group of brethren, to this group of men. He was insane. He was insane. I'm
it's
like, why am I doing
bro?
this?
It's in your DNA.
It is. Okay, so let's talk about DNA. You said something. So help me, take me through why I need to be turning left 33 times.
What happened?
So take me through why I need to be turning left 33 times as I meditate in these mindful moments. You've piqued my curiosity.
Oh, say hi to Pee-wee.
Hi, Pee-wee. Hi,
puppy. He wants to be with his dad.
Come here. Come here, Kitty. I'm going to get my fur baby.
You got to get your fur baby.
Come here, baby.
Hold up. Okay, hold on.
I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
Hey, I'll show you my pussy cat if you show me your pussy cat.
Hey, it's a party. Oh, I love it. She's so beautiful. Look at Kitty. Look.
Oh,
she's like, will you put me down in that bright light in my face?
Yeah, her name is Nyla. Go get it.
Nyla, she is a beautiful. You want to talk about an incarnation of Bastet. I loved I think you posted it, or it may have been, I think it was yours. But it's just in general, it was honoring the feminine form. She was sitting there looking all regal, I think, or it may have been another one. But just, she's a beautiful cat.
Thank you.
She is absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
That's my little baby girl. Because we don't have kids yet, so those guys are like,
they're the babies. They're the babies. You know what? I applaud that approach. Having started with the fleshy fur babies, and then going to the fur babies, I personally would have suggested the pets. I love my kids to death, but Lord Almighty, if I would have started with a pet versus starting with a kid, probably would have been better for my kids.
Yeah. So you said the spinning on the left.
Yeah. Where'd you come up with that? Or where'd that come? Where did that inspiration find you?
You got to start with your heart always. Your heart is on the left side.
And when you've turned that 33 times, why 33?
Because you have this is non-Masonic.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with Masons. 33 is because 33 is a master number. You familiar with numerology?
Mm-hmm.
1 to 10,
mm-hmm.
then 11, 22, and 33, and then 44. Mm-hmm. And 33 is basically a master number that if you read a lot of spiritual knowledge,
mm-hmm.
they always use 33. Always.
33, especially when you talk about a lot of origins of words. When you take the numerical value, I've seen a lot of things that reduce and pull back down, especially when you're dealing with names of gods, interpretations of divinities, things of which represent strength, mm-hmm. structure, form. 33 in particular has a unique nature. I think Nikola Tesla said 3, 6, and 9, and those 3 numbers contain the relationship of all creation.
3 is a powerful number.
3 is remarkable.
Three
When
is
you go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
When you look at 3, especially at how the fraternity uses 3, what do you feel like is one of the most extended connections that you've drawn within the fraternity to some of the spirituality and symbology you've learned with the number 3?
Well, I'm gonna start off with my life path numerology is 3.
Oh, okay.
What's your life path numerology number? You're familiar
7.
with it?
I believe
You're a
it's
7.
7. So we're talking about the one where you take its name, birth
Your
date.
birthday, and then the month, the day, and the year. Add them one by one.
I think it's 7, but now I don't know. It's been a bit since I've done it.
Let's see.
So no, I'm in trouble.
So when's
So,
your birth?
May 16th, 1997.
May 16, 1997.
Yes, sir. I'm getting a live numerology.
You're an 11, bro.
Well, that puts me in a. So, what does that mean? Okay. Oh, so I see what you did. You stacked them all together. Okay, and 11. So, what does that mean?
Hold on, let me do another test to confirm that you're. Because when you pick a master number, when you got to do 2 tests
Okay.
to make sure it's a legit master number. Because in numerology, if you have a master number, that means that you have the power to literally change human consciousness.
Well, let's hope my responsibility level is less.
Okay, let me see.
I see. Now I have research to do. Master number. I need to get with this. So is this just the basis? Is this basic like numerology theory, or where does this come from?
You're a master number, bro.
Oops.
Your life path numerology is a master number.
Life path numerology. Okay, I gotta stack this up. I'm gonna write this down. Interesting. I did not know that. I did not know that at all. 11. See, I would have
You got
taken
bigger
1 and 1 and made it come 2. That's what I would have thought.
You have a bigger responsibility than you might think.
Well, let's see. We'll see if I can honor that.
Huh?
So we'll see if I can live up to that. What's yours? So you said yours is a 3. Yeah, yours is a 3. So what does 3 mean to you when you look at it within numerology?
Well, 1 is the father figure, 2 is the mother figure, and 3 is the child. So when you have a 3 life path numerology, that means that you're very creative. You're an artist. That don't mean that you can draw or paint, but you're very articulate with your life. You
But
treat your
you're
life
channeling
as
those mom and dad energies into something different, new. So you said like 1 is dad, 2 is mom, 3 is the child.
1 is the father figure, 2 is the mother figure, 3 is the child.
So when you look at you as that kind of incarnative, or at least bound in that certain incarnative energy of 3, what is an aspect?
Oh yeah, like especially when you read on, I was like, oh man, no wonder I'm so childish.
But man, you also talk about the benefit to the child is because they can understand. They mediate to extremes. And even just in getting to understand and talk more to you, I really feel like that's a lot of what you do. I think you're an energy wielder whereby you take 2 extremes of thoughts, of energy, of intention, of certain aspects, just principality of thoughts, of the power in that space, and you bring them together in a way that is, alive, friendly, that can be understood. Because inevitably, like, dad could espout some deep esoteric knowledge, but if we don't understand it, then it doesn't help us. If we don't know how to make that into a good pie, if we don't know how to make that into a meal, like mama says, then it doesn't help us. But you really seem like you give that energy, and not just the impression, but that connection, that you take complicated, complex things and you bring them to a way that is digestible, but that is, good to eat. It's tasty, it's flavorful. You're very attention getting. I tell you what, I love your fucking voice. I am honored to be the one to hear it. Holy hell, I need you doing my ASMR and reading my books online. Holy hell, like.
Hey, let's build, bro. We can build.
You know what? I'm about it. Especially that's all we
You know
do at
what?
Hippie Queen.
When you mentioned that you didn't have a good relationship with your father, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that when I was 9 months old, my father left, and
Mm-hmm.
all through childhood, never had a father figure all my life. And you know how that feels. Like it's
Yeah.
you have to be like really strong and be able to
You
take
gotta
on
overcome a
anything.
lot.
Met my father when I was 12 years old, 11 maybe. That's the first time I met my father. So all through childhood, didn't never had a father figure. So being a part of this fraternity is that everybody's like your dad.
Yeah, man, they really fucking are. Especially our seniors, right? You know, you like you said,
Yes.
we're a different breed. We're different. Dad, you know, they represent an extreme. Not saying everybody's extreme, but I mean like they came from a different era, a different time. We are a different time in a different era, but they fall into this space so often of like paternal, like that's I definitely think of my brethren, especially those that I sit and I just listen to. You know, they
Hmm.
fall into that father figure right off the bat, especially when you say some dumb shit. And then they're like,
It's very
excuse me?
comforting too.
Yeah.
It's comforting. It's amazing to feel, and then, but they treat you like the age don't even matter, bro.
It's when you want to talk about non-discrimination, that sense of equality. I've struggled with my age being an obstacle for my whole life. For people setting that as an expectation, a standard, or using it as some reason for me not to do something or to be able to succeed. And I never once encountered that within the fraternity. My Masonic
Mm-mm.
youth, maybe, like you and
Yes.
EA, you can sit down and shut up, chisel your rock. Um, but my position in life as a person, as a man, as a husband or a father, a caretaker, a hearthkeeper, was never challenged. It was honored and given a position that made me feel comfortable to try to stand in it, to talk, to act, to ask.
Yeah, it's very comforting, like knowing that you have professionals within your lodge. You have like people making six figures and millionaires, but to be able to sit with them, knowing they got their whole lives,
Yes.
their whole lives, but they're willing to like come to the lodge every stated meeting and be there with you. Is that a
Talk to you.
pretty? I love it, bro.
Dude, it's insane. I mean, you again talking about leveling out, you know, some of those social distances and those differences. Like there are people in lodge who it's like if I walked into their line of business, I'd meet 8 different people who would be like, yeah, you're funny, you have no right, no reason to talk to them. I don't give a shit how well you know them or what your need is. You will never go back behind that door. But then we go back behind the door together and we sit on the level. How fucking incredible is that? Like,
Where can you get that anywhere else, bro? Where
I,
can you
I,
get that anywhere else?
I don't know. Not without paying for it, right? Not without getting a ticket. You cannot. You don't.
It, it,
It, you can't.
that's why I always say your rights and privileges, bro, because it is a privilege to be here, and they will tell you that right off,
Mm-hmm. It
that it's a privilege.
and you get it if you get it. If you don't, you never had it.
Oh well, you know.
Well
Yo, I'm
said.
having so much fun, bro.
This has been so. I know we're coming up on that hour mark. So I will. What we're gonna do is because I've enjoyed this so damn much. We're going to continue this. You will be back, and we're going to start a new series. We're gonna do one
Yes,
that's
sir.
going to be. I think we're gonna call it the Modern Masons. And it's going to be an active podcast about us in general. It's going to be us shooting the shit. I don't care what we want to do. We can talk about anything. But I have enjoyed this conversation so much in general that, and your voice. I really just want to hear your voice again. This is all just me coming up with different reasons to listen to you. But this has been the highlight of my day, and I've been looking forward to it. Thank you so
Thank you,
much for coming
bro.
over here.
And you're the first one to ever hear my voice. on TikTok.
You're so humble. It genuinely like it. That is some cool shit. Again, this is guys. I'm not telling you to join the fraternity, but I'm saying that within the fraternity, you meet cool ass motherfuckers like this. You meet people who are willing to
You him too.
come on the podcast and talk to you and answer your ridiculous ass questions, but even ask you questions like, what that. This has touched my heart.
Me too, brother.
We're going to link. We will link Somoda B's socials
You
down
got my
below.
number.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're gonna you will hear from me again. You will hear from me soon.
Yes, sir.
Definitively
Yes, sir.
and with certain. Brother, be well, and may the light ever shine over you, keep you warm, and illuminate your house.
And I'm very proud. I'm very proud to call you my brother and my friend.
For life, my brother. This is how we do it.
Hey, take care of your family and your kids and your pets, and have a safe travel, brother.